This is one of the most profound principles of human psychology and personal development. We become what we think about. This concept has deep roots across philosophy, psychology, and spiritual traditions, and continues to be validated by modern neuroscience. Let us explore this powerful idea with you. The origins of a transformative idea. The concept that our thoughts shape our reality isn't new. It appears in ancient wisdom traditions. In Buddhism, the Dhammapada begins, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The biblical proverb states, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." In the 20th century, this principle was popularized by thought leaders like Earl Nightingale, whose 1956 recording, The Strangest Secret, identified this very concept: we become what we think about. As the key to success, how thoughts create reality, the mechanisms, neuroplasticity, the science of thought patterns. Our brains physically change based on our persistent thoughts. Neuroscientists have demonstrated that repeated thought patterns create neural pathways that strengthen over time. When you consistently think certain thoughts, you're literally carving highways in your brain that make those thought patterns more automatic and accessible. This explains why habitual thinking, whether positive or negative, tends to become self-reinforcing. A person who regularly practices gratitude develops neural networks that more easily notice things to be grateful for. Conversely, someone who habitually worries strengthens neural pathways that scan for potential threats. Selective attention. We see what we are primed to see. Our minds can't possibly process all available information in our environment. Instead, we have a reticular activating system RAS that filters information based on what we've programmed it to find important. When you decide to buy a certain car model, you suddenly notice that model everywhere. The cars were always there. Your attention system just wasn't tuned to notice them before. Similarly, if you think constantly about opportunities, your mind will begin highlighting them in your environment. If you focus on obstacles, those will dominate your perception instead. Thought, emotion, action, result. Our thoughts generate emotions, which drive our actions, which produce our results. Think, "I'm not qualified for this job." Feel insecure. Act hesitantly in the interview. Result, don't get hired. Think, "I have valuable skills to offer." Feel confident. Present yourself assertively. Result, make a strong impression. This chain reaction explains how internal dialogue can manifest as external reality. The self-fulfilling prophecy. Psychologist Robert Rosenthal's famous experiments demonstrated how our expectations of others influence their performance, a phenomenon called the Pygmalion effect. When teachers were told that certain randomly selected students were intellectual bloomers, those students showed significantly greater IQ gains over the school year. We do the same thing to ourselves. When we deeply believe something about our capabilities or character, we unconsciously behave in ways that validate that belief. If you think you're bad at public speaking, you'll approach opportunities nervously, reinforcing your poor performance. If you think you're a person who follows through on commitments, you'll work harder to maintain that identity. Practical applications. Programming your mind for success. Mindful awareness of thought patterns. The first step is becoming aware of your habitual thoughts. We have negative thought loops running in the background that we've never examined. Try monitoring your thoughts for a day. You might be surprised by how often certain things recur. Intentional thought selection. Once aware, you can begin deliberately choosing thoughts that serve you. This isn't about naive positivity. It's about selecting realistic, constructive perspectives that move you forward rather than hold you back. Visualization and mental rehearsal. Elite athletes use visualization extensively because mental practice activates many of the same neural pathways as physical practice. by vividly imagining successful outcomes and the process to achieve them. You're programming your mind for those results. Affirmations with feeling. Affirmations work when they generate genuine emotion and belief. Simply repeating phrases you don't believe won't rewire your brain. The key is finding affirmations that feel authentic yet aspirational, then connecting with the emotion behind them. Environment design. Surround yourself with people, information, and environments reinforcing your desired thought patterns. We absorb the thinking of those around us, so choose your influences carefully. The responsibility of thought. With this understanding comes responsibility. If we become what we think about, we must be intentional guardians of our mental space. This doesn't mean suppressing negative thoughts or denying challenges, but rather choosing how we frame and respond to them. When facing adversity, we can think, "This is impossible," or "This is teaching me something valuable." Both might acknowledge the same difficult reality, but they lead to vastly different emotional states and actions. Beyond individual achievement, this principle extends beyond personal success. Collective thought patterns shape communities and societies. When groups maintain limiting beliefs about what's possible or who deserves what, those beliefs manifest as social realities. Conversely, when communities embrace expansive thinking about human potential and cooperation, they can achieve remarkable transformations. Every social movement began with someone thinking differently about what was possible. The balance, thought and action. While our thoughts are powerful, they must be paired with consistent action. Thinking about being a great musician won't make you one without practice. However, the right thoughts will fuel the motivation, persistence, and learning mindset necessary for that practice. The most powerful formula is aligned thought and action, believing something is possible while taking steady steps toward it. In conclusion, your thoughts, your choice, we become what we think about, isn't just a motivational slogan. It's a description of how our minds and lives work. Your thoughts are continuously shaping your perception, emotions, decisions, and ultimately your reality. The empowering message is that you have a choice in this process. While you can't control every thought that enters your mind, you can choose which ones you nurture and develop. You can redirect negative thought patterns and cultivate those that serve your growth and happiness. I ask you this: what thoughts will you choose to think today? What reality are you creating with your mental focus? Remember that your mind is always listening to your internal conversation. Make it one worth becoming. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be updated for more inspiring content. You can also leave a comment and share the video so that we can reach and inspire more people. Thank you, and to God be all the glory.